إلهي لست للفردوس أهلا ولا أقوى على النار الجحيم.
So Gog and Magog have to be human beings. Only human beings can have a conduct which is described as wicked. Only human beings. There are only three categories of beings. Only three. There are angels, there are jinn, and there are human beings. Although I am tempted sometimes to add a fourth. So Gog and Magog are human beings. And if they are evil in their conduct, he has the power to beat them up. So how does he respond? He should have said, I don't need your money, I don't need to build any barrier or wall. I'll just go and beat them up and teach them the lesson of their lives. He doesn't do that. No. He agrees to build the barrier. But they said a sad and he said radam. They said a barrier, he said a dam, in the shape of a dam. Why does he do that? Because Nabi Muhammad ﷺ explained in the hadith, and this is the first time now, the second time I'm quoting a hadith, that Gog is an ummah Banu Adam, and Ya'juj is an ummah Banu Adam, and Ma'juj is a Banu Adam. And Allah has created creatures of His so powerful that none but He can destroy them. This is a hadith al-Qudsi, Sahih Muslim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then addressed Zulkarnain. How are you going to deal with these people living in that region? So he replied and said, whosoever is guilty of a wicked conduct, guilty of oppression, guilty of telling monstrous lies, so they could use 9/11 to go and wage endless wars, that is wickedness with a capital W, who are now threatening Iran because they say Iran attacked some tankers in the Gulf. Yeah? Monstrous lies. I will say it, but he wouldn't say it because he's scared of his job. I would say it, but he wouldn't. Anyone who is guilty of injustice, of oppression, of unjust conduct, I will punish him. And when I am finished with him and he goes to you, you will punish him as well. So when power rests on the foundations of faith, there is harmony between the world here under and the world above. What a wonderful world that is. And whosoever has faith and is righteous in conduct, and that is not exclusive to a follower of Nabi Muhammad ﷺ. You would find a Hindu who's a more honest businessman, who when he gives his word, he keeps his word. Yeah. You'll find a Buddhist who's righteous in his conduct. Gautama Buddha came with a religion and never mentioned anything so much about faith. No, he left it out. Why? Because he wanted to tell the world that regardless of what faith you have, if you do not have right conduct, your faith is not going to take you anywhere. أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُ الْيَتِيمِ. Righteous conduct is absolutely essential. Faith by itself is not enough. What a powerful message from Gautama Buddha. So whosoever is righteous in conduct, has faith, I will treat him nicely and reward him, protect him. And so when power rests on the foundations of faith, this is how power was used. It was used like that the first time. And when the second time comes around, it will be used like that another time. And then he traveled in the opposite direction. This is now east, is it? East? The sun still rises in the east. So when he traveled to the east, look at the economy of language. That Allah uses just so few words. And you have to struggle with these few words. لَمْ نَجْعَلْ لَهُمْ مِنْ دُونِهَا سِتْرًا. Just these words. He came across a people, لَمْ نَجْعَلْ لَهُمْ مِنْ دُونِهَا سِتْرًا. He is challenging us to think. But there are those who say we don't have to think. All the knowledge in the Quran has already been given. It's given by Nabi Muhammad ﷺ and by the Al-Slaf. And Imran Hosein is out of his place to try to explain something new now. There is no new knowledge. This is Salafi methodology. I have Salafis who are my students, oh yes. But they have abandoned that methodology. No, they don't use that methodology anymore. And so, لَمْ نَجْعَلْ لَهُمْ مِنْ دُونِهَا سِتْرًا. Sitra is a covering. And we did not give them to them. We did not give to them. We did not bestow upon them anything else except this as a covering. So perhaps we might be excused, Allahu A'lam, that Allah is speaking about a primitive people, living a primitive way of life. Orang asli. And Zulkarnain did not come along and say, no, I have to modernize these people. You can't build your houses with bamboo anymore. This is the modern age. We got to bring you into the modern age, and if you don't come, we'll drag you into the modern age. You can't build your houses with bamboo anymore. No. Zulkarnain was not so stupid. Kazalik. He had the wisdom. He had the integrity. He had the compassion to leave them as they were, undisturbed. Modern Western civilization will never do that. Never. But when Allah uses one word, كذلك, one word, to tell us His response, then we have to ponder why in Surah Al-Rahman He would repeat one ayah 31 times. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Why does He repeat it 31 times? Whereas over here He uses only one word, كَذَلِكَ, to explain how Zulkarnain responded. You got your homework to do now. If you go to my book, The Quran, The Great War and the West, small, I have attempted to offer an explanation why He has repeated فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا 31 times. And now he travels on a third journey, but they only ask about 2. They ask about 2, but he knew they wanted the third. And that's why he offered the answer for the third. to tell them, I know what you want. And it is when he traveled in the third direction, to the pass between the mountains, the Quran gives an exact geographical description of the pass. He calls it Baina Saddain. It is in the shape of a shell that is open. And up to today you can see the photographs. It is exactly like that, as an open shell, the Gariel Gorge. There he came across a people, لا يكادون يفقهون قولا, whose language he could not understand, because their language was unique. It was unrelated to any of the regional languages. So we're looking now for a unique language at that area where there's a pass between the mountain ranges, and that is precisely the Georgian language up to this day, unrelated to the languages of the region. When they were able to communicate with each other, then those people said to him, Inna Ya'juj wa Ma'juj mufsiduna fil ard. The Gog and Magog are committing fasad in our territory. We are prepared to pay you. If you can do something to protect us, can you build a barrier? Oh, but Zulkarnain has been given the power to pursue whatever objective he chose to pursue. And Zulkarnain used his power to punish the oppressor. And Ya'juj and Ma'juj are human beings because their conduct is wicked. Can they be angels? Oh no. Angels, وَيَفْعَلُونَ مَا يُؤْمَرُونَ. They only do whatever Allah orders them to do. So they cannot be angels. Can they be jinn? No, because when he built the barrier, they could not pass. A jinn could pass through. So Gog and Magog have to be human beings. Only human beings can have a conduct which is described as wicked. Only human beings. There are only three categories of beings. Only three. There are angels, there are jinn, and there are human beings. Although I am tempted sometimes to add a fourth. I call it the Trojan horse. They're using the Trojan horse now to try to destroy Russia, but I'm not going to tell you anything more about that. Leave that, the Trojan horse. So, Gog and Magog are human beings. And if they are evil in their conduct, he has the power to beat them up. So how does he respond? He should have said, I don't need your money, I don't need to build any barrier or wall. I'll just go and beat them up and teach them the lesson of their lives. He doesn't do that. No. He agrees to build the barrier. But they said a sad and he said radam. They said a barrier, he said a dam, in the shape of a dam. Why does he do that? Because Nabi Muhammad ﷺ explained in the hadith, and this is the first time now, the second time I'm quoting the hadith, that Gog is an ummah Banu Adam, and Ya'juj is an ummah Banu Adam, and Ma'juj is a Banu Adam. And Allah has created creatures of His so powerful that none but He can destroy them. This is a hadith al-Qudsi, Sahih Muslim. So even Zulkarnain cannot destroy Gog and Magog. In the language of chess, he can checkmate them. And that's what he proceeded to do. The first time around, he said, give me blocks of iron. And then with the blocks of iron, he blocked the passageway, so he made like a dam, exactly the shape of a dam. And then he said, give me molten copper, blow with your bellows. And then he poured the molten copper upon the iron. And then he said, now this is from Allah, kindness from Allah. They could neither penetrate it, nor could they pass over it. These agents of fasad. I want to pause for a moment to leave Gog and Magog and go to Dabbatul Ard. And I have commented on Dabbatul Ard in 2 books of mine. The first one is Dajjal, the Quran, and Awwalul Zaman, but the second one is on the Quran, Dajjal, and the Jasad. And I've offered an interpretation of Dabbatul Ard. The first one that I gave about 10, 15 years ago was wrong. This one is more mature. And I spoke about the electromagnetic waves with which we are now inundated. Now they're moving to 5G. And your children are going to be destroyed. Yes, your children are the most vulnerable of all. They'll be destroyed in the sense that their memory will be damaged. And if your memory is damaged, you can't think. And when you cannot think, you'll dance to every tune that the child will play. So, I don't know where he was from. Maybe he was Libyan. And he explained to me, he said, Sheikh, let me tell you something. If you want to protect yourself from the electromagnetic waves, one of the ways in which you can do it is with iron. And he said, when you are at a mountainside, our Prophet said the time will come when a believer, in order to protect himself and his family, would have to flee to the mountainsides, the places where rain falls, and take with him some sheep and goats. He says the electromagnetic waves cannot penetrate the mountain. And so you're safe on a mountainside. So he built the barrier with blocks of iron and coated it with copper. And then he says, هَذَا رَحْمَةٌ مِّن رَبِّي. This is rahmah from my Rabb. فَإِذَا جَاءَ وَعْدُ رَبِّي جَعَلَهُ دَكَّا وَكَانَ وَعْدُ رَبِّي حَقًّا. But when that time comes of which my Lord has won, He's going to bring down this barrier made of blocks of iron in a pass between 2 mountains. And when He brings down this barrier, then Gog and Magog will be released. After they have been released, then obviously the second of the 2 currents would be possible. The first was before He built the barrier. And the second will be sometime after He built the barrier. Is the barrier still up? In Malaysia, do you have something called Google Earth? You could sit down in your library and you could go touring the whole world with Google Earth. If the barrier was up to this day, surely someone would have found it. Where is it? No one has ever seen that barrier. Why? Nabi Muhammad ﷺ is asleep at the home of his wife Zainab radiallahu ta'ala anha. And in his sleep, he has a vision. Like Sulaiman ﷺ had a vision, like Ibrahim ﷺ had a vision, like Nabi Muhammad ﷺ had a vision. And he sees something terrible. And he wakes up and his face is flushed all red. And he wakes up saying, Wailul lil Arab, woe unto the Arabs, min sharrin qad iktaraba. because of a great evil which should now come upon them. It's close. The Arabs in particular. And then he raised his hands like this and he said, today a hole has been made in the barrier, the radam, built by Zulkarnain, indicating that the release of Ya'juj and Ma'juj will commence at this time. She asked, will we be destroyed? Will we be destroyed? Even though there are righteous people amongst us? He said, Na'am. إذا كثر الخبث. He says, when garbage prevails, then look for the destruction of the Arabs. Today there is even garbage in the money we are using. The paper money we are using is garbage. Mine remain a solitary voice. What can I do? To declare that the monetary system that we now have, given to us by modern Western civilization, is bogus. It's fraudulent. It's utterly haram. It's a vehicle for the exploitation and impoverishment of our people. And the scholars know that. They're not dumb, they're not stupid. They can understand that. But they lack the courage to come forward and speak. Yes. There's garbage all over in the world. There's the political system. Ya Dawood. Surah Sad. Ya Dawood. Oh David. Inna ja'alnaka khalifatan fil ard. We hereby appoint you as Khalifa on earth. Fahkum bayna al-nasi bil-haqq. The function of government, the function of law, the purpose for which you have governance, the rule of law, is that people must be governed on the basis of truth. فَحْكُمْ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ بِالْحَقِّ. And where do you look for truth? Not in some secular university, because Allah is the truth. And the truth comes from Him. Al-haqqu min rabbikum. That's politics. That's my lecture for Friday night, Yawmul Jum'ah at Rikoy. Islam and politics. But today politics is rubbish. Allah made it halal. You make it haram. That's shirk. Is there anyone who differs with me? Is there anyone who differs with me? If Allah made it halal and you make it haram, that's shirk. Allah make it halal for a girl to be married when she has reached the age of puberty and when she has rushd. So when she is 17 years of age, she already is fit for marriage. But the government says now, no, I don't know if there's any government which has resisted them. But even the Islamic Republic, of what used to be the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, now it is the Islamic Republic of shoeshine boys of Muhammad bin Salman. What? Even the Islamic Republic of what used to be Pakistan, even they have now passed the legislation, ordered by the IMF, of course. We give the order, you must away. We are La ilaha illallah Muhammad, we are the followers. No, we give the order, you must obey. So the Pakistan National Assembly has now declared a girl cannot be married until she's 18. I don't know if the law is like that in Malaysia yet. Huh? Already? There you are. All around the world, everywhere, you have to be 18 to get married. Allah made it halal, they made it haram. That's shirk. So this rubbish prevails in the political world. There's rubbish in the market, the economy, there's rubbish in the monetary system, there's rubbish in the feminist revolution, there's rubbish everywhere. So he said, إِذَا كَثُرَ الْخَبَثُ. When rubbish prevails everywhere, at that time, look for the destruction of the Arabs. When Nabi Isa alayhi salam returns, then Allah says, this is a hadith, Al-Qudsi. Is it Qudsi? I can't remember if it's Qudsi. Anyhow, that Gog and Magog will be sent, not released. And the first of them will pass by the Sea of Galilee and start to drink the water, meaning consume the water. And by the time the last of them pass, they will say, there used to be water here, indicating that the water level in the Sea of Galilee gives us a timeline for the approach of the return of Nabi Isa alayhi salam. Today the water level of the Sea of Galilee is so low that the Sea of Galilee is waiting to die. Waiting to die. When Nabi Isa alayhi salam returns, the first thing that he will do will be to kill Dajjal, the Jasad. And when he is killed, and of course the jinn no longer work for him, that's goodbye to the state of Israel. And then Gog and Magog will attack Nabi Isa alayhi salam. Yes. And he will then pray to Allah, who will then destroy them. And when Gog and Magog are destroyed, and Dajjal is killed, it will be a level battlefield now. The odds are no longer with them. And at this time, لَتُقَاتِلُنَّ الْيَهُودِ. You will most certainly fight the Jews. He's not speaking about Al-Nasara now, not speaking about the Christians. لَتُقَاتِلُنَّ الْيَهُودِ. You, the followers, this ummah, you will fight the Jews. وَلَتَقْتُلُنَّهُ. And you will defeat them. حَتَّى يَقُولُ الْحَجَرُ. At that time even the rocks and the stones will speak. Ya Muslim, هَذَا يَهُودِيٌّ وَرَائِي فَتَعَالَ فَاقْتُلْ. There's a Jew hiding behind me, so come and kill him. I was lecturing at the State University of New York in Stony Brook many years ago, and the Jews were sitting in front of me. and you know, I was young, you were young, you have the courage. So I proclaimed this hadith in their faces. So that was before 9/11. You can't do that now after. They went and they complained to the rector. They complained to the rector. Look what this man has said. That the stones and the rocks will speak and say there's a Jew hiding behind me, come and kill him. He is spreading hatred against the Jews. It's called anti-Semitism. So we're waiting for the rector to call me. He never called. He never called. Because these were not my words. This is the word of Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu. And he said, Balligh anni. Balligh anni walau ayah. Reach out my message, even if it be one sentence. Reach it out. Don't be afraid to reach it out. This is the end of Gog and Magog. Prior to this, when they are about to attack Nabi Isa alayhi salam, they would say, we have killed those who are on earth. Now let's kill those who are in the skies above. And they'll send their arrows up into the sky. And Allah will cause the arrows to come back down with blood. So they will be convinced they've killed those in the sky. So I scratched my head and I said, this looks like Star Wars to me. This looked like Star Wars to me. This is the mistake I made the first time around in trying to identify Gog and Magog. And I'm forgetting the Quran. This is the mistake I made. I forgot the Quran, Surah Al-Anbiya, and I concentrated on this hadith. So I said, oh, I understand now. Gog is this fella and Magog is that one, the two superpowers. And they're going to have to fight it out, these two superpowers. Because when Allah brings down the barrier, وَتَرَكْنَا بَعْدَهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ يَمُوجُ فِي بَعْضٍ. I have never come across a more difficult passage of the Quran than this one. وَتَرَكْنَا بَعْدَهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ يَمُوجُ فِي بَعْضٍ وَنُفِخَ فِي الصُّورِ فَجَمَعْنَاهُمْ جَمْعًا. Better not translate it, leave it. Too difficult. So I said, the Western Alliance, NATO and so on, that's Gog. And the Soviet Union, meaning Russia, that's Magog. No, Imran, wrong. The Soviet Union had within itself a Zionist plant within it. Yes, there was a Zionist plant within the Soviet Union. So that when the 1973 war took place, they were on both sides of the war. That's what they needed for the petrodollar to be born. Yeah. And in 1956, or was it 54, 56, when Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev, early on a Sunday morning when everybody's sleeping, he handed over Crimea, which was Russian territory, to Ukraine without the permission of the Russian people, without the permission of the people of Ukraine, handed it over. Why? Because this is a Zionist mole inside the Soviet Union. So Gog and Magog are located within the Soviet Union. And Gog and Magog are located here. This is the Western Alliance which brought the Jews back to the Holy Land. But one of the most amazing phenomena of the modern age, which could not have escaped the attention of a people who think. But most of all today don't think anymore. I don't know, it's because we're eating too many durian. Jalan, Musam King is a very popular Jalan. That the Soviet Union collapsed. And overnight, Russia returned to its Orthodox Christian roots, recovered its Orthodox Christian heart after 60, 70 years of relentless oppression of the Orthodox Christian Church. And yet so easily Russia returned to her Orthodox Christian heart, while that side became increasingly barbarian. A man could marry another man and get a marriage certificate, and yet you will still go and play golf with them? Huh? You know who I'm talking about. But on this side, no. Not in Russia. A man cannot marry another man and get a marriage certificate. Not in Russia. Today Russia it's not perfect, they're making mistakes. They made a mistake with Sisi, and now that mistake has come to slap them on their face when Morsi died. They made a mistake with Saudi Arabia for purposes of economic opportunism. So Russia makes mistakes. But overall, Russian political system, politics, diplomacy is the best in the world today. And so I made a mistake when I said that Russia was Magog. No, Russia is not Magog. Rather, Russia is Rome. And Rome is in the Quran. And Rome is Constantinople. And that's the topic of my lecture for Saturday, so I invite you to join me on Saturday, inshallah, at KLCC at 2 o'clock for Constantinople in the Quran. I have presented to you in 1 hour Gog and Magog in the Quran and Hadith. Now then, to conclude, those who use wrong methodology, they looked at only one hadith and they ignored the Quran. And that is disrespect for the Book of Allah. And they said that this hadith says that Gog and Magog will be sent, and they use sent to mean release, after Nabi Isa alayhi salam returns. And therefore there will be no Gog and Magog in the world until Jesus returns. What a mistake they have made. What an embarrassment for them when they're in their graves. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might bless us to always recognize the truth. And when we recognize the truth, to stand up for it, regardless of the price we have to pay. And give us eyes to see that which is false. And when we recognize it as false, to have the courage and integrity to declare it to be false and to stand up against it. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين آمين.